All right, well, I am refreshed with coffee, and this is the actual bottom of the pot coffee. I didn't make that much, and I feel like it's incomplete because it's like half of a cup, and I can taste coffee grounds in it. Welcome back to the channel. I know it's been a little bit of back and forth with like kind of styles of things that I'm doing on this channel, but I really just want to try out all these new styles of delivering content to you because like I just want to make sure that I'm getting my point across without sounding like a robot and making sure that all the information that I'm giving to you is actually valuable. So if you watched this video and if you've watched my previous videos, thank you, first of all. I do want to show you today something that I've wrote about here recently and actually made an ebook out of it that's free, but I'll get to that a little bit more later. But I wanted to deliver this in a video format for those who maybe don't read as much as they probably want to. I know I don't. But yeah, so we're going to get into it without further ado. And this is going to be a video where I talk about how you yourself could become a recognizable brand in 2025. And so if you haven't caught on yet, the style of this video is going to be me presenting to you something that I feel strong about, that I am also trying to do myself, because I'm trying to create more of my own brand. Like I have a brand, but I'm trying to refine it. And so along the journey, I want to share with you what I'm learning. That's what my channel is going to be about as much as I can, just trying to figure out what sticks with you. So feel free to let me know if this is the kind of style that you like. Obviously, this is slide number 1, but let's get into it. So the step 1 that we want to do when it comes to your brand is identifying what your brand is. So if you look at other brands that you may know, like household name brands, I'll name one that I used to work for, Uber. I used to work for corporate, and that has become a household name. And why is it? It's because the brand identity that Uber has is very well defined and has become a large portion of our lives, to the point where it's used as a verb. It's used in TV shows, movies, commercials. Like, it's a recognized brand. Another one, which is very recognized across the entire world, is Apple. And so this is the same kind of step that you yourself want to take in order to define who you are as a brand. Like, you already know who you are as a person, but now you have to basically turn that into an identity for your brand. So how do we define you, like, as a brand? First, you want to ask yourself a couple of questions. First of all, what do I want to be known for? For instance, like, I'm a photographer by trade. Like, that's my first and foremost thing. I love taking pictures, specifically of cars. Like, that is what I am known for on my social media channels, which, if you don't follow me on Instagram, I'll put it in the description below so you can go check it out and get a feel for what my brand identity is. But you want to find out what it is that you want to be known for. And what kind of work do you love creating? I think, like, for me personally, it has been a lot of back and forth of, I want to create something that I enjoy, but I also need to create stuff that other people enjoy. So for instance, me creating this content for you is something I do enjoy doing. I like talking off the cuff and talking about things that I'm interested in. But does that necessarily resonate with people? Like, you kind of have to find this balance, or you just need to be able to craft it in such a way and package it in such a way that you get the best of both worlds. You get to create what you want and also get to make an impact on people. But that question that you ask yourself, like, what do you love creating? You just need to figure out what that is. Is it talking head videos like this where you educate people? Is it cinematic stuff? Is it behind the scenes stuff? Like, there's different mediums of content that you can create. But at the end of the day, what do you love creating? That is going to be essentially your North Star. And then what is the message behind your content, your photos, your videos, if you're a graphic artist, like your designs? Like, what is the message you're trying to convey to people? I'll tell you what my message is. And my message is that you have the freedom to choose to do what you want to do. Like, that is what I want to do as a creator. Like, I want to have the freedom of choice, and not just as a creator, but in all aspects of my life. I want to have the freedom to live where I want to live, do the kind of work I want to do, work with who I want to work with, so on and so forth. Which, that's a different topic for a different day. But basically, what is the one message that you want to share across all types of media that you share? And that's pretty easy. Like, once you find a common denominator, just focus on that. The next thing is you want to deliver your one-liner. Now, if you know what a one-liner is for a brand, I won't bore you with it. This is something that you, as a person, need to define. And it's as simple as I help who with what through how. The who, what, how is what you need to fill in. So for me, I help aspiring creators with turning their passion into a profitable business through videos, behind the scenes, newsletter, etc. Which, by the way, if you want to sign up for my free newsletter, it'll be in the description below, where I share a lot more in-depth knowledge that I have on different topics every week. It's free. But I am on this mission to not only do it for myself, but to also help you see that you can create whatever kind of content that you want, become a content creator in whatever fashion you want. It doesn't matter. You do not have to be a million plus subscriber influencer. Just be able to turn your passion into a business, like a profitable business. One that can be done on the side if you love your day job, or one that could be scaled up to a full-time gig and you can leave your job. Personally, me, I just want to work on the side thing. And then eventually, in a couple of years, I don't know how long, I would like to turn it into a full-time scale thing. So I'm taking you along with me to show you that that is possible. Is it easy? No. But that is my one-liner. The next part of that part was easy, just identifying who you are and who your brand is. The next part is finding out who your audience is. Now, I do have a free resource on how to define what we're going to talk about here. I'll also put that in the description below, which, by the way, everything that I'm mentioning in this video is free. Like, I'm giving away everything that I know, which is, not as much as some people, but I know enough to help people. So all that information will be in the description below as I mention it. So just keep that in mind. But you have to understand that you're not just making content for yourself. You're making content for someone. Now, for me personally, I have on Instagram currently 147,000 followers. It was at 152, and then over the last 6 months, it's trickled down. But the content I've been making has changed in the last 6 months. Like, I've been making the same content I've been making, but I've also sprinkled in there different types of content because I want to expand what it is that I create. But when I go and create content, I have to understand, and you have to understand, that although you're making it for yourself because it's the kind of content that you want to make, we also have to think about the viewer on the other side. So if I'm making content like this, where I'm teaching you or sharing knowledge with you, like, I can't just ramble about like what I've done and what I've experienced. I need to be able to give you actionable steps to do the same thing. And so that's one way that you can frame it when it comes to creating your content. So if you're looking to help somebody in some way through some medium, how do you give them the actionable step through your content? Or how are you inspiring people to go make content or to do whatever it is that you want? So to find out, you need to ask yourself, who do you want to connect with? The person that you want to connect with, one of the easiest ways to really connect with somebody is think about somebody who's a couple steps behind you. And what do I mean by that is that when you are a photographer, for instance, I have been a photographer for just over 7 years, not professionally, but I've used a camera for over 7 years. If I want to make content that connects with first-time users of cameras, like photographers, then I'm going to make content around how to use your camera, how to edit, how to export, how to post online, the how-tos kind of things. If I want to connect with somebody who is of the same demographic as me, like I'm 31 years old, I'm married, I have a kid, I have a full-time job, I have full-time responsibilities, if I want to make content about entrepreneurship where it could replace my job, which is what I'm currently on the path for, then I want to connect with other people who are like me or in similar position as me. They don't have to be married, they don't have to have a kid, but like maybe they work a full-time job that they are okay with. Like they don't necessarily hate it, but they would like to do something more, something that's more fulfilling, something that gives them more freedom, something gives them more choice, right? So who do you want to connect with? And I would think about this as like one particular avatar, which again, we'll get more into in future slides, but who do you want to connect with? And then once you find out who you want to connect with, what are they struggling with? Besides me struggling with talking to camera, like what are they struggling with? When I was a first-time photographer, I didn't take a course. I didn't learn it in school. I just had YouTube. I had content. My favorite photographer that I follow still to this day is Peter McKinnon. If you're a photographer, you know who he is. He's a recognizable brand, right? And he taught a lot of, like camera usage, editing techniques, etc. Like I learned a lot from him. But it's not just learning, it's also like having to go out and do it yourself. But find out what it is that they're struggling with. Think of 5 things, like 5 things that people are struggling with, and that is a really good starting point. And what kind of content do they love consuming? This is a tough one. I know it is for me specifically, because being a short form creator on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, you have to cram so much in such a small amount of time. Like, yeah, sure, they've increased it on YouTube to 3 minutes for shorts. Yeah, you could have always done 3 minutes on Instagram, and yeah, on TikTok you can do 10 minutes. But the attention span that people have on those platforms is much shorter. So platforms like YouTube, I can talk a lot longer, and as long as it's engaging enough, you're going to stick around. So for instance, if I'm making a short form content video, I know that my followers love the 60-second or less type videos. That's just quick, straight to the point, show off the photo, the before and after, which is what my content is known for, and move on. Or those genuine conversations and interactions I have with people out and about, like those that last only like a minute or less. Those are the types of videos, the type of content that my audience likes. They also really like the photos. So when I post my carousels, they really like consuming that kind of content. So you want to find out what kind of content they love consuming. If it's something educational, you're more likely going to be found on YouTube, because I feel like people go to YouTube to learn how to do stuff, and people go to Instagram, TikTok, Shorts to be entertained. So think about that. And then we get on to the defining your audience. And this is a way that you can just kind of get creative. This is essentially building your avatar. So I call them the dream follower. And your dream follower, again, the resource will be in the description below. This is how you're going to identify who you're making this content for. Then you're going to write down what they're struggling with. So this is basically an exercise that's included in the resource that I'm taking this from. And at the end of this video, I'll tell you more about it, I promise. But this is an exercise. You want to name your person. You can get creative with it. You can name them Bill, Janet, whatever. They're struggling with fill in the blank. They follow people like fill in the blank. So for instance, if I'm a photographer making content, who do people follow for photography content? Well, we've got Peter McKinnon. On the automotive niche, we've got North Border, Seventh Era, Car Creative, and Life Through Optics, which I know Ben, not like personally, but I've chatted with him plenty of times on the regular. Like there are people within the niche that you're making content on. So find out who they're following. You can look at them as like inspiration, or you can look at them as competition, however you want. And then they love content that fill in the blank. So this is an exercise that you should be taking yourself through, because it's going to give you so much more clarity on who you're making this content for. Get a quick coffee sip. So the third section is you want to clarify what your strategy is. I think this is where a lot of people kind of fall short, even me personally. Especially in these last 6 to 7 months, I have really had no strategy. I've just kind of like made what I want to make and see what sticks, and then I'll double down on it, which is not necessarily the lack of a strategy. It's just not as structured. So leading into that, when you post random content, you're going to get random results. So if one day I'm posting my POV style content, the next I'm posting a motivational piece of content, my POV content will likely do better than the motivational kind. If you stick with it long enough, then people start to catch on. So it's not necessarily like you try it once, it sucks, you quit. It's just you need to kind of stay with it. So in order to do that, you need to have a structure to your content. And it's not like a strict rule, but you need to be very purposeful on everything that you post. And the best way to do that is to use the content pillar system. This is a screenshot directly from my ebook that, again, it'll be in the description below. I'll mention it more at the end of this video. But this is a well-known strategy that people use for content creation. You have your educate, entertain, and establish pillars. So under the educational stuff, you're sharing tips, you're giving lessons, you're making tutorials on how to do something. For entertainment, you're just sharing your humor, your personality, relatable moments. Like maybe you're catching a live POV moment of something happening. And then your establishment is basically letting people know that you know what you're doing, like establishing authority. So you're sharing the work that you do, you're doing the behind the scenes kind of content, or if you're a freelancer or a coach, you're sharing testimonial content from your clients. Now, when you go and create content using these 3 pillars, you want to give your week a theme. And you don't have to do every single pillar. You really only need to touch on 2 pillars at most. If you want to touch on all 3, feel free. But I think 1 to 2 pillars is plenty. If you just want to do 1 pillar, that's fine to kind of like start out with. But eventually I would suggest going into a second pillar. So for instance, as a theme, Monday we post a piece of content as an educational piece of content. If you are posting on short form platforms like Instagram, you can do this in a video or you can do it in a carousel. Like I've done it in both. And in carousels, it's very easy because you can use just your slides to share something. Like I share edit breakdowns of my photos and I share tips on how to make the photos look the way they look. Or maybe I'll record a piece of content that I can do in 60 seconds or less where I give like a tip. Wednesday, you can establish authority by showing the behind the scenes of a photo shoot. Again, my content touches on both of these very easily within 1 video because I do film POV, which is the behind the scenes look. And then in that video, I double down and I even may share a tip of like, how can I capture this angle of this car? How can I use this lighting to my advantage, etc. And then Friday, this is something where you can entertain on. You can share a personal story, like an experience you once had. Maybe you can share a struggle that you have, which that is a very common thing in content creation now because people crave authenticity. So I think that the authentic approach, whether it's in just this one kind of post or in all of your posts, is very good. I'm able to, in some videos, touch on all 3 of these pillars in one video, which if you can do that, fantastic. Like you're definitely going to relate to a lot of people very quickly if you're able to touch on all 3 at once. But if you don't want to do that and you want to have some sort of structure, some theme for the week, fill out a schedule kind of like this. Like this is not a written in stone kind of thing. This is just an example. Now the next section is we want to, so we've identified what our personal brand is. We've identified who we are, but now we want to visually tell that. And we want our visuals and our one-liner and stuff like that to be recognizable. So for instance, when I mentioned earlier other brands, like there's brands that have a color theme that's very recognizable. So, and that's to do with colors. So for instance, what kind of shade of color do you like most? For me personally, It's orange and teal. I really like complementary colors. Like when you look at the color wheel, complementary colors are my favorite. And I think that's also like a very common kind of color scheme to go with. But my car is orange. My favorite color is blue. So those kind of mend together really well. And then as like my third color, black. I mean, it's not really like super colorful of a palette, but for things like this, like just black, anything with contrast in it. You want to have one readable font. Normally I use a font through Adobe called Futura, Futura. It has a lot of different styles within it, but I use the bold and then I use the medium oblique. So it's a little bit of an italicized look, but I'll use the bold for titles. I'll use the medium oblique for like the body of my text. I'm using Google Slides right now, which is not using that font, but you want something that's going to stand out and be very legible. So for instance, the title on this is Impact, which is a more bold, recognizable font. And then the body of this is Arial. So very simple, but you want it to be legible for everybody. If you do like the script stuff, where it's like the cursive handwriting stuff, I think that's fine. Just make sure that whatever it is that you put it on, people can actually read it without having to squint their eyes. For your editing, this is, you can kind of do whatever you want with this. I think with editing styles, 1 to 2 looks just to start off with is perfectly fine. For instance, I have 16 presets that I choose from on my preset pack, which is a paid thing, but it's also in my store. So if you want to look at it, you can. But out of the 16 presets, I really gravitate towards a handful of them more than I do the other ones. I think it's just because like my style changes from time to time. So maybe I'll use 3 to 4 presets all the time. And then months later, I'll shift to something different. But you want there to be consistency. So if you are taking photos or you're filming video, you want a constant style. And you can set it up right now and then change it over time. It can evolve. There's no problem with that. Just don't do from one video to the next something completely drastically changes. Like for instance, right now, what I'm filming in S-Log is automatically set up with LUTs to be color graded. So I don't have to do any color grading after the fact. But it's the same exact LUTs that I use in my other videos to give myself a certain look. So that's what you want to do. And if you're interested to know more about the presets that I use, feel free to let me know. If you're interested to know what LUTs I use, also feel free to let me know. I don't have a LUT pack. I just have a preset pack for Lightroom. So again, it'll be in the description below if you're interested. But you want to have a style, a look. And this is an exercise directly from the ebook. How does your content feel to you? Does it feel like it's you, or does it feel like it's something else? If you are unable to look at your feed without knowing the name of who that content is from, then you need to change something. If I were to go, again, I'm going to pick on him because I love his photography, Peter McKinnon. If I go to his profile and I did, like somebody showed it to me without showing me his username and his profile picture, I would know it's his because 1, he has a very specific style, and 2, he crafts his profile page the way that he purposely makes his grid a certain way. And a lot of creators do that. But you want to be able to look at the content that's on your page and have that sense like, oh, this feels like stuff that I make. Now, the screenshot that I have of my stuff is kind of all over the place, again, because, like I'm experimenting with stuff. But for over a year, my thumbnails were just my photos of my cars. Not my cars, but of the cars I'm taking photos of. So if it was a reel, I would take a photo from that reel and make it the thumbnail. Obviously, if it's a carousel, it's an image, but you can see that I have videos that don't have images of cars. Like there's me in them. So that has been a dramatic shift over the last 7 months for me personally. But as long as like the content you're seeing on there feels like something that you create, then you're going to have the same recognizable look that other people will be able to look at and say, oh, that's so-and-so. And last section is to build a posting plan. Not just like a crazy, I'm going to post 2 days, 2 days. I'm like, if I'm posting 2 times a day, which I have done in a year, which I have a video on that. If it's here still, I'll put it in the corner for you. But I post for 365 days straight, twice a day, without missing a beat. Okay, even when my daughter was born, like I posted every single day, twice a day. It was absolutely madness. You do not need to post every single day, nor do you need to post twice a day. That's 730 pieces of content I posted in a year. So to do this simple framework that I'm going to show you, you need to pick 1 to 2 platforms to start with. And eventually you can upgrade and add in more, but just pick 1 to 2. Honestly, maybe just pick one. Pick your top platform. If it's YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, whatever, pick one, post to it consistently. Because if you're trying to grow more than one platform at a time, you are going to burn out. Trust me. Like, I know. You can do it in a method that I've used, which is simply posting the same exact piece of content across all 3 platforms. Like every day, I posted the same short video to Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And it sucked, though, at the time because YouTube didn't allow past 60 seconds. So all my content had to be 60 seconds or less. Now you have a little bit more freedom. But I would post the same exact video, right? And then my carousel, like my photos, would only ever be posted to Instagram until TikTok bombarded me like, oh, post your photos on TikTok. You know, I did that for a little bit. I didn't like it, so I stopped. But you can cross-post to all 3 platforms if you wanted to. But what you're going to find out, and this is what you can do, you're going to find out that one platform performs better than the other ones. So for me, it was Instagram. I was posting the same content to all 3 platforms, and Instagram was the only platform that ever really grew at a substantial rate. And so, yes, I still post to other platforms, but my main focus is Instagram. Because I built that up. I had the largest audience there. And that's that. So pick one, grow it, and eventually down the line, pick up another one, grow that as well. Which is what I'm doing right now. Like, I'm trying to grow YouTube. So thank you. Now, frequency, you want to start with what you can actually achieve. So for instance, it's a work day for me. I'm filming this during my lunch. And I'm going to post it during off hours. And I have other things I have to do. I have house projects. I have family. I have cleaning I have to do. Like, there's so much that I have to do. And doing the 2 posts per day every single day was so draining that I slacked off in other areas. And I don't want that. The whole point of this is to be able to work as much as I want when I want and have more freedom. I don't want to be tied to this desk 12 hours a day all the time. So do what's sustainable. I've personally talked with people from Instagram, and I do it every once in a while. Like, they have me do like interviews, stuff like that. And they've always told me 3 times a week is perfectly fine. Like, if you want to grow on Instagram, 3 times a week minimum is what people should do. So, you know, if you posted Monday, Wednesday, Friday, congratulations. You met the bare minimum. What you post does matter. If you want growth, you have to post reels. If you want to cater to your current followers, photo posts and carousels. Now, as far as being efficient, this is an area that I struggle with, and I know other people struggle with, but you need to batch, record, edit, and schedule posts as best as you can. Like right now, I'm filming this because I came up with this idea. I made this slideshow within 15 minutes, and now I'm presenting it to you. And then after this, I'm going to cut it up if I need to, and I'm going to post it straight to YouTube. Like, I'm not going to do a whole lot. But what would be the best use of my time and your time is to write down this idea along with all these other ideas, film it all in one day. So if I were to say Sunday is my recording day, I'm going to batch record 4 to 5 videos, right? Because I've already gone through the ideation, the scripting, which this is not scripted. And then I'm going to record all of it on one day. And then I'm going to schedule it for YouTube. 1 video a week is kind of like what I would love to be able to accomplish. So I'm going to schedule it 1 video per week for the next month, right? So then guess what? You got a month's worth of content in 1 day of filming. That is the idea. Actually getting there is very hard. And I know like for you, it's different. Like I have a full-time job where I work from home. I have that luxury. I have that unfair advantage. Not everybody does. So you have to find out what is going to be most sustainable for you and then make out a calendar. So like ideally I would ideally I would do ideation on this day. Maybe you do scripting on this day, and then you film on this day and you edit on this day. So if you break it up and then batch everything together, then you can give yourself plenty of content to work with. And then there's ways that you can recycle content. That's a different topic for a different video, but you don't have to create brand new content every time. And then this is like coffee break. But this is like why I wanted to do this, because when I do my POV content, none of it is scripted. When I make content for YouTube, I hate scripting. Like I know when I'm scripting and I hate reading from scripts and it really, really, really bothers me. But I also need to know like, what is it that I'm talking about? Because I'm just talking to a camera. Like I'm talking to you through a camera. So there's no feedback, right? But the best way to do your content is to think of it like a conversation with a friend. And that if you keep showing up and having these conversations, your audience are also going to start showing up with you. So like the more that I engage in conversation, the more likely I'm going to get conversation back, if that makes sense. Like if you feel like you're the friend of the group that always reaches out to people, then this is definitely going to be easy for you. Like if you're the friend that always reaches out to your friends, be like, hey, let's do something, let's hang out. Same thing, but like have the conversation, start the conversation. And when you are talking through what it is that you're teaching or showing off or whatever, just pretend your camera is your friend. That's literally the best way to do it. Now, this is a prompt. It's another exercise in the ebook. You want to identify what's the one thing that you're going to teach this next week, right? So you're already thinking of ideas in your head, I'm sure, as you're watching this video. Write down what is it that you're going to teach this next week. What is one thing that you're going to share, and what is one thing that you're going to show the behind the scenes of? For instance, like I have my GoPro that I use for all my behind the scenes video. And if you're curious, it's the GoPro Hero 11. All my gear stuff is in the description below too, like all the lists. They are affiliate links, so if you do buy something, thank you. It's how it supports me. But think of the 3 different things that you can do next week as far as content. And it doesn't matter how you do it, just do it. Like you don't have to have anything set up for it. Use your phone. If you have a camera, use your camera. Just do each of these. And this is going to lead me to the end of this video, which I have no idea how long this is. So thank you for bearing with me. But my ebook that I just released yesterday, I literally made it up within a week, is step-by-step what we just talked about here, where you're going to define your brand, you're going to identify your audience, you're going to get clarity on your content strategy, you're going to create a visual identity, and you're going to build a simple posting plan. There is no reason that after this video or even after reading the ebook that you can't go out today, start a strategy plan for next week. Next week, post 3 videos. Like just do short form videos. Just short form's a little bit easier in the fact that it only has to be like 60 seconds. Like just go do something, right? There's no reason why you can't do that. If you want the actual ebook, because in it gives you exercises, like actionable exercises like the ones I just showed you. It's a great reference point. Download it for free in the description below. And when you download it, you'll also get signed up to my free newsletter where I will share every single week something, like a subject. I've actually revamped it here recently, and it's going to be more well, I want it to be more reader driven topic wise. So when you sign up, I'll actually ask you, like, what do you want to learn more about? And that will help me serve you better, because there is a lot of knowledge that I have. It's just, I don't want to just blurt it out to the universe without people actually wanting to hear it. So this will help me. But anyways, this ebook is 27 pages long. It's a very easy read, and it's got great reference points. So have it on your phone every time that you get stuck. Use it. It'll help you get unstuck. So that is all I have for this video. I really appreciate it if you watched it all the way through. If you got great use out of it, or maybe feel a little bit more confident as a creator, please let me know in the comments below. I'm doing my best to make content a little bit easier for me to deliver to you. Like I said, I hate scripting. So this is literally all off the cuff using Google Slides, like nothing fancy. And yeah, I mean, just let me know, like, if there's anything else that you want to learn about, and I'll make videos on it. I mean, I literally need subjects to talk about, so feel free to just let me know. But that's all I got for right now. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all next time.